What's up? What's up? What's up, ladies and gents? Give everybody a couple seconds to hop on as we have this quick conversation here on Sunday afternoon. Um, like any good Sunday speaker, I will tell you that I won't be before you long, and I actually mean it. I won't be on here long. Just doing something a little bit different. So let a couple folks come on, and then we'll hop on if you guys are catching the replay. Um, Make sure you guys, I appreciate all you guys for hopping on. Make sure that you are hitting not only the follow button, but make sure you guys are hitting the notification button. I know a lot of our folks are saying, we don't see all your videos. We want to see more. We want to support more. And how can we do that? Well, how you can do it is make sure you hit that notification button. That way you'll always know when we go live. So wait on just for just a couple more minutes and let folks be on, just because we didn't really give you a lot of watch time. But before we get to the subject at hand, a great day of HBCU football was shown yesterday across the HBCU landscape. We actually got it started on. We actually got it started on Thursday night, where we had the game between Benedict College and Fort Valley State. Myself and my partner Wally, the HBCU game day team, was there, although the game was on the Four Letter Network. So again, I appreciate everybody for hopping on. Again, we're just going to just give a couple minutes before um, before we um, before we hop on and talk about the subject at hand, which Um, Eddie George has given us something to talk about for sure. So appreciate everybody for hopping on. While you're in the comments, if you are waiting for the conversation to get started, let us know who you are and who you're representing. Obviously, we're right in the middle of football season, so everybody's well, I'm not gonna say everybody. In the part of the season where everybody's feeling optimistic is over, but everybody's at least enjoying homecoming season, right? Let us know in the comments below whether you're enjoying your homecoming season. Be sure that you guys are hitting there. So, we got five folks on here, so we'll go ahead and get started just really quickly. So, Saturday, Tennessee State University had a big game for them. It was homecoming, so of course everybody's homecoming is always a big deal. Tennessee State, no different. They were taking on Norfolk State, opponent from the MEAC. It's not often that they get a MEAC opponent, especially to come there to them. And they came out with a thrilling 24-17 win. There was a lot of build up to this game. We talked about the matchup between the Battle of the Bands, and we also talked about the uniforms that they dropped uh, over at Tennessee State. So a lot of hype coming into the game. The game was a 24-17 win for Tennessee State. They improved to 4-2. So this is their best start since 2017. Really exciting time for them in that program. Eddie George, the best start he's been. He's only been a coach there since 2021. So the best start for him. And he's excited about it, but he's hoping that the fans get more excited about it. I'll let you guys hear what he had to say, and then we'll go from there and get a little bit of the reaction that folks gave, because folks definitely had some reactions to it. But here's what Coach George said in the wake of his game. This is a video from Brandon King with HBCU Sports, I believe. So big shout out to him for capturing this video. Let's.
Next week we'll have the same crowd. Next week that was here today. It was great. Would have loved for it to have been packed, for the entire game, not after halftime when the bands left. But we got it.
I mean, okay, so let's just stop there. So again, big band battle. Norfolk State Spartan Legion came to the Tennessee State Aristocratic Bands. So obviously, a lot of people were there for the band battle. It is what it is. It's HBCU football. But he's not the first coach to complain about it. Famously, the former Jackson State coach, current Colorado's coach, he complained about it as well. But you also had folks like Dawson Odoms, who was a head coach over at North Southern. He is a HBCU born and bred. He's a head coach at Southern. He played in North Carolina Central, and his first year at Norfolk State, he ruffled some feathers when he kind of complained about the same thing. So just keep that in mind, and we'll start it back up.
A special group, and I think I want our fan base to really embrace that. I don't know if they really love football. I just don't know. I mean, I've been here for 3 years, and there's only been a couple games they come to.
Oh man, he went there. He went there. Like, let's just talk about it. Coach George says, he's been there for 3 years. First year 5-6. There was some progress there. They were excited about it. Some excitement there. Last year, a little bit of a fallback. And then this year, they're off to a 4-2 start. And we had a video a couple weeks ago that Tali and Simone were talking about how Eddie George needed more love. Now, a lot of you guys probably never even really got that or got to the gist of it because the young lady may or may or not have said that she didn't know who SWV was. Now, look, I'm not going to speak for Simone, but I do know that they do have kind of a age thing going on there, where, she's quite a bit younger than he is. So I think anytime he makes a pop culture reference, a lot of times she likes to, let it be known they're of different generations. But anyway, you probably missed the message by getting caught up with that. But the premise of the video was Tennessee State needed more love just from HBCU football fans alone. But as we see here, Eddie George and his guys are fighting for love and respect and people to support them even from their own home crowd. So again, we're talking about Eddie George. We're talking about the Tennessee State crowd, the Tennessee State Norfolk State game. Make sure you guys are in the comments. If you're a Tennessee State fan, please let us know what you think. If you agree with Coach George, if you disagree with him, let us know what you guys think. Just because again, this is an important topic, and it for sure is something that needs to be talked about. So he's not the only coach that feels this way. So let's continue, and then we'll get to some of the reactions that we've gotten already.
And that many people and be excited, but I don't know if they truly love the game because we are winning. We're finding ways to win. I think it is entertaining. So I just encourage people to come out and really support our student athletes because it makes a big difference when you're cheering on third downs and making noise and the energy. It's hard as coaches, it's hard as players to constantly build up that energy. We need our home crowd, and if they don't find it entertaining, then hey, I don't know what to say. But I thought that Big Blue, our fans.
Now, hey, if you know NFL football, Coach George did play for the Tennessee Titans and Coach Jeff Fisher. His offense wasn't necessarily the sexiest all the time. RIP to our guy Steve McNair. He did what he could with it, and of course, Coach George. I see we do got a comment. So shout out to JMan96. About time to be a football power. You have to first get the athletes, sell season tickets and facilities. Totally agree with you there. Like, I mean, if you're a player and my playing experience was very limited, but if I come to a situation and the people that are there that are supposed to be the supporters, the crowd is not excited about it, I'm probably, if I got other options, that's probably gonna at least be something you want to feel like it's somewhere to be. And the only way that happens if you have fans. So we'll get back to it. And this next part was a little bit spicy, but I like it.
Fans, I really would love for them to embrace us and to support us no matter who we play. It doesn't have to be another HBCU. It doesn't have to always be a party where there's liquor and wings and all that in the parking lot. I get it. I've been there. But if you're a real fan of football and you're really supporting Tennessee State football student athletes, come in the game and support us, and we'll all party at the end. So I just found that to be interesting, considering where we are was the staples on the line, that it wasn't a full attendance during the entire course of the game. So that's all I have to say. Carly Benson.
And there you guys have it, folks, from Coach Eddie George, Tennessee State University. So for people who don't really have an understanding, and for people who don't have a lot of background or context, we like to provide that. Of course, a lot of places you can go and you can get reactions, and people are gonna try to be off the wall or things like that. But we do want to give you some context with that. So Tennessee State University does not play its games on campus. It's located in Nashville. It doesn't play its game on campus. It plays them at Nissan Stadium, home of the Tennessee Titans. So they're off campus. They do have an on-campus stadium, Hale Stadium, but it is definitely it's very much in need of repairs. Again, as we talk about, as we've been talking about a lot online, Tennessee State is one of pretty much every HBCU that's owed a lot of money by the government, as much as 2 billion, by some estimates. So obviously, though that type of money could help those types of things and have a leg up. But nevertheless, Tennessee State plays their games in an NFL-sized stadium, so they had 13,000 fans, which is a pretty, good sized game for FCS. Obviously, folks in the SWAC, they pack it out year in and year out, so we know that. But there's that. So again, we've been talking on HBCU game day over the last couple of weeks just about how, really how, especially with the success that Tennessee State is having this year, that they're not really generating the type of buzz and the love and everything like that obviously Coach Prime got. And just you would think that someone who was an NFL legend and a name as big as Eddie George would get. Obviously, Coach Prime is a different person than Eddie George. Different brands that came into it with different brands and things like that. So, it's never going to be quite the same. And one for one, obviously, Coach Prime came in and had a lot of success. Not as much so with Eddie George. So, those comparisons kind of in there. But part of it too, and I know a lot of people gave us a lot of flack too because we continue to cover Coach Prime. We continue to touch on him. Well, for one, media is moved by what people are interested in, and whatever people want to say on online and on social media, the numbers usually don't lie as far as the large number of people who are interested in things. And it's a different animal. So you hate to see that. We got some more comments here, so I'll make sure I interject that. Let's be real. We know it can be done. Yes, Coach Deion Sanders was the best thing to happen to HBCU football. Those are your words, not mine, but I'm not going to. A lot of people do not disagree with you, and a lot of people do. Jackson State's games were sold out. TSU, support your team. Now, again, this is why I thought it was important for us to do this and for us to have this conversation, because now you got to give some context too. So Jackson State has traditionally been one of the top, if not the top, school in FCS in terms of attendance. Of course, they play in Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium, which seats over 60,000 people, which gives them a unique edge in FCS football. A lot of FBS stadiums don't sit that much. At least the place where Colorado plays now, they don't even sit that many. So, they've had a built-in advantage, and they've always had a rabid fan base. Took a hit for a while when they did not play well for a good part of the decade, but even still, they continue to lead in attendance. So shout out to JSU. They've always, whatever your feelings are about that fan base, whatever, they're never out of the picture, and so they were always there. Tennessee State is quite a bit different. Tennessee State being where it's been, it hasn't been in an HBCU conference since the 1940s. Since back in the day when it was in the old Midwest Conference with Grambling. I believe Jackson State was in that conference as well. And then that conference slowly but surely kind of broke up. And so Tennessee State's kind of been on an island on its own. It's had a lot of great success, a lot of great NFL players, a lot of, Pro Football Hall of Famers and things like that. So they've had a great program, but they've kind of always been an island to themselves. They've been in the Ohio Valley Conference since 1986, which makes a lot of people make a lot of, because they're not in a traditional HBCU conference. So pretty much early in the season, they'll play their non-conference games, if not all against HBCUs, then mostly against HBCUs. This year, they did take on Notre Dame. They did lose that game, but they started the season off with Notre Dame. They took on Arkansas Pine Bluff as well. And, normally they have their rivalry game with Jackson State, the Southern Heritage Classic. This year, that Jackson State was no longer a part of it. We had that whole conversation for a couple years when Coach Prime was there, and everybody at Jackson State was pretty much advocating for them to get more money. Now Coach Prime is gone. Some people are saying, it's time to bring it back or whatever. So we'll see. But for context, Jackson State and Tennessee State, two separate schools, two separate fan bases. Jackson State, again, is in the SWAC, where there are HBCU rivals. And to a lot of people, to Coach George's point, HBCUs matter. So let's continue. Tennessee State University's decision. Okay, so see, that's why I want to be on here right now. God saw beginnings and no end. Tennessee State was never a part of the MEAC. Again, Tennessee State actually has not been a part of an HBCU conference since the 1940s in totality. The MEAC was started in 1971, and Tennessee State has never been a part of the MEAC. Never been a part of the MEAC, but it's never been a part of the SWAC as well. So definitely want to make sure that we point that out. Shout out to Ticket TV. Appreciate you for the shout out. Appreciate the support and the love. Um, but yeah, I just, there's so many misconceptions about Tennessee State and where they are. Again, this whole thing. Again, I just want to say for the record, and I know it's going to keep coming up, but I want to go make sure that I put this out there. Tennessee State Tennessee State University in Nashville, Tennessee, has never been a part of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference or the Southwestern Athletic Conference, right? All right, I know we're going to hear that again, but let's just dispel that. You got to get your facts straight first. So, um, Eddie Lee, we need to support Eddie George. Him and Deion Sanders should be running neck and neck with subscribers from YouTube. They're both doing a great job. I got to disagree with you on there for a little bit, only because Deion Sanders literally is one of one. He's the only Deion Sanders. He created a brand for himself back in the 1980s as a college student. That's how far ahead of the curve he's been. And so, the reality shows, and I know that Coach George and his wife Taj, who is part of the group Sisters with Voices, which I absolutely love. Their first album is amazing. The second album amazing too. Drop your you know what? While we're talking, drop your favorite SWV song in the chat. I mean, it's hard to go against Weak. It's hard to go against Weak, but I mean that whole first album was full of bangers. That whole first album was full of bangers, second and third as well. So shout out to them. I saw them at Winston-Salem State homecoming, which I'm gonna shout out my alma mater too while I'm on here. Why not? Shout out to Winston-Salem State. We're having homecoming this week. So shout out to all the Rams that are returning to 601 South Martin Luther King Drive. Enjoy yourself, and everybody enjoy your homecomings. Anyway, let's get to some of these reactions that Coach George got. Include Rain and Week are amazing. Rain and Week are amazing. I like You're Always on My Mind. I don't know. I've just always liked that song. Always on my mind, but Rain is amazing. Some people like Downtown too. Not mad at you. All right, let's go. Um, let's see. So here's what. So again, Brandon King, shout out to him. He posted the press conference last night. Went ahead and wrote up the article overnight. Make sure you guys had something to read. Appreciate everybody who goes to hbcugameday.com. I can't stress how important that is for you guys to go and support the website. Just go and click and read what we got posted on there. It's that's how we stay in business. So shout out to everybody that goes to the website as well as who subscribe to the YouTube. And guys, if you aren't subscribed to the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube. And if you are subscribed but you hadn't hit the notifications yet, please do. We're seeing a lot of people saying that they're not knowing when we're going live or when we're posting new content. We don't want you to miss any of that. So make sure that you're doing that. Back to Coach George. So we posted the post. Mr. Sparvy Hector. I'm just gonna go ahead and shout you out here, sir, for interacting with us. You gave three things. He gave three things that Coach George needs to do. He says that Coach George needs to finish above 500 for once. They're 4-2 right now. They've got six. I think they got 5 more games. So they got a good shot of finishing above 500. He also says they need to stop playing games in Nissan and rebuild the whole. Of course, again, we just had this conversation. Coach George earlier last week just talked about how Tennessee State is owed $2 billion. So you do the math there. And here's the other one. Which I know we get a lot, which is join the SWAC. Okay, so I feel like I have a chance to be objective here, not only because I'm a journalist and a reporter, because also my school isn't in the SWAC. And I know a lot of people in the MEAC may feel the same way too. But I know a lot of people will say, hey, Tennessee State, they wouldn't have these problems, right, if they joined the SWAC. And there's potentially something to that. I mean, I'm sure it would probably help. Again, playing Jackson State and a home and home would probably do wonders for Tennessee State's attendance. Alabama A&M is another close one there too. You have the legendary, the historical context between them and Grambling State as well. Even though Grambling is in the West and they would be in the East, and of course there's FAMU. So there's a lot of reasons why I get why people say that. But again, when you're talking about moving conferences, it's not just one sport, right? It's not just football only. It would be joining for the entire conference. Um, so it's a little bit more nuanced than that. TSU doesn't, Chief Kichiwaya, TSU doesn't know who they have. Coach George won the Heisman and played years in NFL. His first year at Tennessee State, he had several former NFL coaches on his staff. Wake up, Tennessee State. I mean, hey, he's trying to wake them up, man. They're 4-2, right? I mean, a lot of colleges in this country would kill to be 4-2. Trust me, I know. Trust me, 4-2 sounds pretty damn amazing right now. Um, so these are the three things that Mr. Sparvy Hector said that he needed to do. And Coach George, shout out to Coach George for hopping in our mentions. He clearly saw our post and he saw the response and he responded. He says, we're currently 4-2, the best start since 2017. The program hasn't had a winning record in 20 years. I do know they went to I think he means over the last 20 years, their record hasn't been a winning record. I have to go back and check that. We have opportunity to win the conference. That's not something to be excited about? Question mark. I mean, it shouldn't matter who and where we play either. You're a fan of football or not. Coach, we can talk about that one because your alma mater, Ohio State. When they play certain schools, they play their FCS buddies or back to back. We'll see what kind of attendance they have. But I get you. I get you. He goes on. If you were watching bad football teams in 40-degree weather, the points you mentioned shouldn't matter. Correct me if I'm wrong, but TSU has been in the OVC since 1988. I do believe it's 1986, but 88 and been playing at Nissan since 99, 2000. Hopefully I'll see you there this weekend when we play Lincoln. So, again, Coach George, he's hi Dion, nice to appreciate you for joining the channel. Make sure you guys hit that notification button again, subscribe button if you haven't. Coach George, he's been taking, he's had a different approach again than Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. Obviously, Coach Prime again has been a brand his entire professional life, even back to being an amateur. And so, when he got in there, he kind of came in with a whole brand behind him. Eddie George, a bit more low key, a great businessman in Tennessee and in that area, but not quite as known of a quantity, not quite the media presence. And he stayed true to himself. A lot of people wanted him to be more like Coach Prime, but he stayed true to himself. But I think now, again, he's starting to see that not only that he's taking the time to lay the foundation for what he's doing, but he also is seeing that he's got to get out there and work a little bit too on the media side. So shout out to him for that. And I appreciate you guys saw beginnings and knows no end. Okay, that makes sense because one of the Cole brothers mentioned being the first HBCU to win a non-HBCU conference. It seems like in the 90s they played numerous games involving numerous HBCU games involving like FAMU, and that's right. Again, Tennessee State again has not been in. They have not. I'm gonna go full screen. Tennessee State has not been in the MEAC ever or the SWAC ever, and they haven't been in an HBCU conference since the 1940s. So there's that. But again, I appreciate you, guys. So again, we just want to, make sure we clear up that. So make sure you guys, I appreciate you guys for that. But again, so we had Coach George being there, hopping in the mentions. Jimmy Woodruff says they love the "I ain't hard to find, we come" and catchy slogans and vibrant personality. We have to gain the attention of the fan base, and it's going to take everyone to think outside the box. And then Coach George just finally concludes with, "Just come and watch our team play." And I totally agree with Coach George. Again, when you work really hard, you're trying to put down a foundation of something great. You just want folks to come. And I think there's so many of us at so many HBCUs that feel the exact same way. Whether it's, it may not be that, there's always a reason. There's reasons that people support and there's reasons they don't support, even when your team is losing, right? And I always say this, like when your team is losing as a college fan, that's really your time to really figure out how you can go in and support if you're really a fan, especially at an HBCU, because it's not like you're going to get a draft pick for being bad, right? Your NFL team, they can be bad and you can kind of leave them. I'm a Panthers fan. I haven't followed that team in years. Shout out to Bryce Young. I don't even know if they won today. I was a Panthers fan, but I'm not a great Panthers fan, so I haven't even been really paying them attention. But I know if I leave them alone long enough, they'll find some players and get good, and maybe, unless you're the Detroit Lions. Anyway, if you're talking about your HBCU, your college football team, specifically your HBCU, that's not going to just get better just because you don't come. It's actually the opposite there. Shout out to Karen. We definitely want to give you that. You're always there on all of our lives. We really appreciate you, Karen. Yeah, yeah. So I know a lot of, I wanted to keep this short. I appreciate everybody for hopping on. I know a lot of people have a lot to say. Make sure you guys, again, are going to read hbcugameday.com. We're trying to give you guys that content every day. So we appreciate that. We will continue talking about it as well. There's some great dialogue going on there. So, make sure you guys tell us in the comments after the fact what you guys think about what Coach George said. What was your favorite part? I'm not gonna lie, when he started talking about being in the parking lot and wings and the tailgate, the party, like it was funny. But I know some people probably got in their feelings about it. But it's the truth. I mean, we all know, we all have seen there and been there and seen that. Again, I talk about homecomings. My HBCU, Winston-Salem State. We're about to have homecoming, and we haven't had the greatest record in the last couple of years. And the tailgates are amazing. And folks come and vibe at the tailgate, but they don't go in. A lot of people aren't going into that game and supporting, even though the team, for the team to get better. And it is kind of frustrating as someone who understands how this thing goes. But everybody doesn't. But that's why we're going to continue to, make content like this and continue to keep doing these videos so everybody can be informed. No agenda or anything like that. Just want to support your HBCU. So with that, shout out to you, JMan96, Karen. I appreciate you as well. So much great HBCU content. Make sure you guys are, again, following, subscribed, and make sure you hit those bell notifications. And if you like this stuff, let us know in the comments, and maybe I'll hop on and do a little bit more. I'm not always the biggest fan of this stuff, but when I get the interaction from you guys, it just makes it a lot easier. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody peace and blessings. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and make sure you follow HBCU Game Day. We got great content coming for you all week. Appreciate you guys. Peace.